Okay, students, in this video we're going to make a pumpkinhead cookie jar and lid for Halloween, and hopefully the best one gets 3D print and 10 bonus points, so put some effort into it. You could do this inside an assembly and create two parts, but I wanted to show you guys how to derive one part from another, so we're just going to create a part and bring it in there. Alright, so new part. Sure, it's standard, not sheet metal, right? Standard. Create. And again, if this was multiple parts, definitely want to create a project, but since it's only one part derived from another, I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, create a profile sketch similar to the one below on the XY planes. However, I got that open here. So 2D sketch, XY plane. So we've got a 0.7 radius, 1.5 out, 30-degree angle. Alright, I don't know the best way to do this. We're just going to sketch it and see what happens. Okay, does it tell me that distance? No, it doesn't. So I'm just roughing this a little bit. And a lot of ways to do this, I'm sure. I'm going to make these two equal. So that'll make them the same length basically, okay? And then I'm going to put an arc on here. And once again, I have to hover 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, and now it's wanting a radius, and radius is 0.7. So hopefully I sketch that halfway close to right, because it won't work if you sketch it way out. So make sure you're trying to sketch it close to right. Then it's 1.5 for my distance there. Okay, and it definitely blew up. And let's put dimension. My angle between these is 30. It's looking better. Okay, now I'm going to say this is horizontal with the origin. I could draw a construction line across there too and mirror them. There's a lot of ways to do this, but so horizontal. There's the center line of the arc, and there is that one. Now it's all locked down and fully constrained. Okay, with only what 3 dimensions on there, so that's kind of what we're going for. Alright, so I'm going to finish that sketch, and then I'm going to read my instructions here. Create new planes from the base plane, all these distances up. Okay, so there's a good chance to learn a little bit about planes and lofting. That's kind of why we're doing it. Project the first go. We'll do one thing at a time here. So creating the planes, there's work features, plane, offset from plane, and let's make that visible. I'm going to have to get out of it to make it visible. So I escaped out of everything, and I'm turning the XY visible so I can actually pick on it a little bit better without having to go back and forth in the browser. Offset from plane, and the first one is 0.125. Hit enter to repeat. Next one is 0.375. Don't make any mistakes. Enter to repeat. Next one is 2.75. And next one is 5.125. The top ones are basically same distance from the middle as these three are from the middle. And 5.375. And the last one is 5.5. Make sure you pick the right plane. It should look like there's the mirror image across this one, and they do look like that, so I think we're good. Okay, next it says project a sketch arc only up the first 3 new planes offsetting ½ an inch out on each. Okay, so we got to go up to these 3 planes and offset that arc ½ an inch out. So we'll do a new sketch on this one. Okay, and then we're going to offset that or project geometry, that one, and then we're going to offset it out to 0.5. Okay, and then we're going to draw our lines across it. And then we're going to make these two equal, picking the equal constraint. Okay, and then we've got to make these 30 degrees. And I think that's it, right? Keep 30 degrees and make legs equal, and it is fully constrained. So that sketch is finished. And now we're going to, that was the second one. You got to be careful what you're doing. You can spin this and see that it's on there if you're careful. Back to that corner. Now I'm on a third one. New sketch. Project geometry. And that one. I'm going to offset it out again, 0.5, and I'm going to draw my line. Oops, didn't get it. Try again. What did I do? I don't know. Probably went on the wrong side. 0.5. There it went. Line. Make sure you're getting the green dot when you're picking these things right. Because if you don't, you didn't pick it right. And it actually selects when you let go of your mouse, not when you pick your mouse. So if you try to go too fast, sometimes that'll get you. That's the way all selections are based in Windows. Dimension, these are 30 again. I probably should have made them equal first, but I didn't. Let's just see if it still works. Equal constraint. That one and this one. Yeah, locked her back in. Kind of surprised I haven't had to tell it to stay in the middle, but I haven't, so it's all good. Okay, finish sketch. Now I got to do the same thing with this one, last one. New sketch, and project geometry. And then we're going to offset that. 0.5. We're going to draw our legs. Pick them out here. The reason that we're keeping all these in line is so when we array this later, that they'll all keep touching. If these weren't in line, of course, then they wouldn't touch and it just wouldn't work. Okay, so now we need to copy all three of these sketches up to these three. So I don't know what's the easiest way to do this. There is where's all my sketches? These three got to go up to there. So if I go to sketch 1, copy, and that would be on the right top. So it's going to be a mirror image. One of these is sketch, isn't it? Create sketch. There we go. And I just right click and paste maybe. Lo and behold, it actually worked. And of course it says 2 dimensions are needed. So dimension from here to here. Could have I really don't like this, having to dimension all this. Just kicked me out. Hold on a minute. Okay, I don't really like that idea of doing this. So I'm backing up a little bit here. And not going to copy that. I think projecting it would be a better answer instead of copying it, because it's making me redimension it. Oh my goodness. I noticed it does not like when I try to rotate everything, so I'm going to try to not do that as much. So I'm just going to project this. I think that'd be a more of a less prone to error. Make sure I get the right ones. There's a lot of things to pick from in here. That should not need any dimensions. Okay, so that one's done. Okay, now we're going to do this one. Finish sketch. New sketch, I mean. And we'll project it, see if I can get on the corner here without it kicking me out again. Project geometry, and this is the second one that's going to be up there. Finish sketch, and then the third one. Yeah, I like this idea better. Project geometry. I did put a note in there that this middle one should be 3.5. What did it say? The middle leg middle has a 3.5 leg and a 1-inch radius. Okay. 1 inch. Evidently I decided at one time it looks better to make it bigger, so let's try that, I guess. Finish sketch. So I better go back into that sketch and fix it. So that's that one, sketch 4. See how it's highlighting. So let's see how long that leg is. See, I'm going to right click and change it to aligned. So it says, of course, you can't put it on it because it's already got that. So I think at this point we're probably just better off we projected that and did a bunch of things on there. So if I get rid of that 0.5 and I'd get rid of that, I could just redraw this in that about that same amount of time. Pick arc there, there, and 1-inch radius, so 1. Okay, and it says a bunch of stuff still needed. So these two are equal, but since I got rid of that 1/2 inch, it changed everything. So I'm going to dimension that leg. I think they're still equal, hopefully. And right click on that, make it aligned. Pick that until it's 3.5. And then these points got disconnected, so I'm going to have to tell it that they are coincident. Okay, click on that little point and that point, that should bring them together. And they are not centered, so evidently I lost everything. Now I got to tell that horizontal again. Good practice, I guess, right? There's horizontal. That one needs to be horizontal with the origin. Okay, now everything's fully constrained again. Okay, it gives you more of a, I'm sure I did that because it gives you a better look on your pumpkin, more pronounced for the rinds as they go around. So finish sketch. Okay, that was the hardest part. You get that done. That's the hardest part of it. Okay, loft correctly to create a pumpkin wedge, and then array 12 of them, then shell 1/8 of an inch. Now you might not be able to get the 1/8 of an inch shell to work, but we'll try. So I don't know why you wouldn't, but it just depends on how it feels that day. Sometimes shelling can be difficult. So we're going to loft, and this first time we used the loft, you can actually have a rail that guides it so that it'll follow the rail. So there's some pretty fancy math going on here. Of course, we want a solid output, not a shell output. But you basically just pick if there's only one in here, you only got to pick one sketch. But you'll probably see pretty soon there'll be more than one. So then I'm going to go to this one next. And so far it's working. Kind of surprised it's not telling me to pick which sketch, because there's also an inside one here that could be used. But it's not forcing me to. Sometimes it'll say pick the correct loop, which would be the inside or the outside, and it's not doing that, thank goodness, because that's kind of a pain when it does that upside. I thought I missed it, but I got it. Take your time with that. So it doesn't always work that easy. If it highlights like this, it's going to work. Like I said, sometimes you actually have to pick on the correct loop or what sketch or whatever on the inside if there's two of them available, which there was two of them available here, but evidently it's ignoring the projected one, which is good. So hit OK here. Now I've got my wedge. You can turn it into a different color. Usually I tell you to pick material. I'll probably do somewhere on here. Let's see what it says later. Okay, array 12 of them. Alright, so now we need to array 12 of them. That is over here They don't call it array, they call it pattern, circular pattern. Okay, I'm gonna probably should rewrite that, but AutoCAD would be this. So I want you to pick the feature, which is this, and then it says pick the axis, which it might let me pick. There it is, good. And then I don't want 6 of them, I want 12 of them. 6 would have a bunch of holes in it. We did 30 degrees, 360 degrees divided by 30 is 12. That's why I picked 12, right? And pretty good looking pumpkin. Pretty pronounced Ryan's there, not perfect, but pretty good. You can play with those numbers if you want. Sometimes it's difficult if you change these numbers to get it work right. I've tried, came up with these numbers through a lot of trial and error, so forewarn you if you change. Make sure the angle, of course, if you want to make 25 or 40 degrees, it's got the array of 12 matches the 30 degrees for 360. These values where I arrayed up was trying to keep everything more even, but you're welcome to play with it a little bit if you want to get wild with it. Okay, we got to shell it. This is going to be tough, so we definitely want to save at this point before we shell it. Always save before you shell, because it likes to crash. Uses a lot of math in the back of this, so we're just going to call this pumpkin. I'm not going to put it in its own file because there's just not very many parts to this. And I think that's good. Save. Okay, and shell. Okay, so shell, you just pick it, and it wants you to pick a face to be gone. If you notice it's doing 0.1 thick, mine's working, and it looks like it's showing up. It wouldn't show up if it didn't. If you don't pick any faces, it's just going to be hollow in the middle, but we want to get rid of this top. So I'm going to carefully pick that face, and try not to hover over too many things, or it will go crazy and pick everything. And it looks like it is failing. Okay, well that stinks. So an eighth is 0.125. It wasn't failing until I picked that face. I'm going to pause it while I work through this here. Okay, I want to show you what happens. So I put 0.125 and it should give me a preview, and it's not. So from experience, I'm pretty much sure it's going to fail. So I'm going to hit OK here, and I'll show you what happens when you shell. A lot of times, hopefully it doesn't take too long. It says could not create new shell. So you expand this, and you always, if you get an error, read it, see what it says. You can usually figure it out. The attempted shell operation would require a large topography change. Try with a smaller thickness. Okay. Alright, I'll do that. So edit. And I don't think I have any other options here that's going to let me do anything. Not really. I mean, I could go outside instead of inside, or I could go both ways. Maybe try that, see if it works. It did actually work, going outside. What if I go both ways? Oh, that failed. Well, I'm just going to go outside then, since it worked. The other option would be to make this thinner. Okay, so if I go to like a maybe 0.06 or something, which is just less than a 16th, it still failed. Okay, so let's go to a 32nd, 0.03. Okay, and now it worked at 0.03, but I wanted a thicker pumpkin because it prints better. So I'm gonna put 0.125, like I said, in there, and I'm gonna go out. And I'll probably just update the instructions so everybody does that. Okay, usually I don't though. Usually I take the default and go in. So I made the pumpkin. Well, how's the pumpkin look? First of all, that's important. It looks stupid when it goes out. I'll just say okay here and check it out. And it still looks fine. It's really thin. You can kind of see why it's failing. It's getting really thin on top. Okay, where that hole is, but works pretty good. So I'll just leave it like that. Save again. Okay, extrude cut lid hole. Use a couple circle sketches to Loft. A cone. Well, I don't like that idea. I'm going to use this projected face here and do it. I think that'll look nicer, and it'll sit on there better too. So I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll rewrite it. All right. It's all new. I don't know if is that a flat plane. I guess it is. Allowed me to sketch on it. All right. So now I'm going to do projected geometry. Project geometry. I'm just going to pick on that. Finish sketch. See if it'll let me cut that into it. So you want to do it as a cone, that way it'll sit in there tight and not, the lid won't fall in. Okay, so we haven't talked about that much, did I say? Extrude cut lid hole. Cone or taper. Okay, I didn't really explain that, or I should have told you an angle probably, but oh well. Extrude. And we're going to pick on this and the inside too, so it doesn't get confused. And I'm going to switch it to cut. And 1 inch is fine. I don't know, it doesn't really need to be that big, 0.5. I don't want to go in through my bottom or anything there. Okay, and tapered angle. Okay, this is a little different on 2020 than it was in 19. So you hit it, advanced property here. Here's your taper angle. I don't know, it's probably negative degrees to go in, so I'm going to try that -5. Yeah, see, if you saw that it went in a little bit, I'm going to go more than that, 15. Still not enough. I don't want my lid falling in there. 25. There, that's a pretty good angle. Maybe 30 even. There, that's a pretty good taper on there. I would like to spin it and see it, but it'd probably lock up VMware. You can see it's tapered pretty good. So that should be good. So basically it's doing a cone, and it's going to be around that, so that's kind of neat. And then we say, it's another option here. We could do new solid if you're really trying to do this fast and you have 2 solids there, and you could turn one on and off when you're 3D printing it, just so you know that. Where I'm not going to do that because I want to show you how to derive something, and it's really better to have 2 distinct parts than creating a new solid. But if I picked this as a new solid, it would actually create a new solid in there. Hit OK. Now I've got a pretty good looking jar in here. Add your faces, etc. Get an image off the web. Okay, so you just did the board, so you should all remember how to do this. Basically, we're going to offset a plane from this one. I don't know how big were we here. We were halfway up as 2.75, so maybe 3. Should get us all the way. We tapered out, but 3 should still do it. Let me pick that plane, I guess. Offset from plane. Apparently I didn't pick it. 3. There we go. Now what you want to do is find it. 3 wasn't enough. So go over in the browser, make it 4. Still not enough, still not sticking out there. 5. That's enough. Alright, so on this face you want to bring in a web picture from the web. So for instance, I don't know, jack-o'-lantern. I don't know how I spelled jack-o'-lantern, but find one you like. Find one that can be 3D printed too. Like, so if you have something like this where the whole mouth is just hanging down there, nothing's holding the whole top of the mouth up, that would be a problem to 3D print, because it's going to start trying to build these teeth in the air. Okay, the rest of this will work good. Let's see here. As long as you can have something connecting in there so that it doesn't fall apart completely, but it does get tricky to 3D print some of these things, because like I said, this top half would just be trying to print in the air. You can use put material in it so that it doesn't, reinforcing material in it, but then the whole thing gets full of it. So I don't know, just pick one, right? So you guys find a nice one, and we can always add reinforcements. I'll try to show you how to do that right now. So let's see here, save image as, just see if I can copy and paste the image. Probably won't let me, but I always got to try new things. Nope, there's no paste image that I see there. Let's try again, save image as. That's a really lame one, find one better than that. Okay, so bring an image on this and then trace it, okay? I'm not going to do that because I want to get this video over with. But you can bring an image in, you bring it in like right here. Insert image, should remember how to do that, right? Have any images here? I don't have any images. I don't have Venner open, or I don't have Chrome open. So imagine there's an image right here. I guess I'll do it real quick. Try not to break it. I have to do it from inside this window since I'm in VMware. Just call it Pumpkin. Haha. The Donald Trump one. Don't get me started on that. Alright, let's see here. That looks like a pretty cool one. I'm not going to do that whole thing though. Save image as. Fine. Downloads. Put it on a drive somewhere you can find it if you want to get it back. So I'm going to put it on my U drive. If I can find my U drive. I think a PNG image will work. Pretty sure it will. Okay, let's try again here. Venner. Bring in the image. There, found it. Open. Put it over here. Scale it up so it's about the right size. So I'm making it straight like that, and I drag it around. I don't know, something like that, right? Take your time and do it nice. I'm trying to go quickly here so I don't have a 4-hour video. Okay, now you just trace this thing. You can try to trace with a spline if you want to, like this one. It's a little tricky. Those points, you know, you can give it a shot. That's a bunch of curves. I usually recommend using arcs and lines. It's a little bit more it's easier to trim it and extend it, and so this is more artistic. So all these are arcs on this one pretty much. You can do every one with an arc. So like I pick right there and I put it like that, right? I pick my beginning, make sure you get it. It's trying to jump on this image. So you gotta be careful. Fastest, it'll probably lock it up if I'm not careful. So I'm just going to do one of them here, an eye. You know, I can mirror this eye to the other side. You have to do the whole thing. Make sure you're getting on the green dot. If you don't get on the green dot, your image will not be. Remember how I always talk about it has to be a closed loop to be able to extrude or extrude cut it. If you don't have a closed loop, it will fail. So it doesn't have to be exactly like the one you get. And if it overlaps, it'll be a problem too. And I can see right now this could be a problem overlapping. So I'm going to delete that one and try an arc again there. Got in too big a hurry on that one right there. If your lines overlap, it's not a closed loop. It can't be an interconnecting loop either. Got a lot of little rules like that. So you can't have any of your lines overlap when you're drawing this stuff. Because if they do, then you gotta use, it's just going to be a pain, trust me. So no overlaps. All my lines should be connecting. Okay, so do that. You can do it every one of them, or you can just cut one at a time. It's probably safer to cut one at a time. But then you got to share this image, but it should still work. Finish sketch, because then you can find your errors a little bit quicker. Extrude. Let's go right over top. Cut. I'm gonna go halfway through that pumpkin, which I'm 5 inches out, so I'm on 5. So it should be going. I don't want to. Well, you can go all the way through it too. I'd go